I sent that with you.
Are you ready? Welcome to the Carroll County Commissioners meeting. I apologize for running a little bit late because he was doing some interviewing this morning. But I'd like to ask you to join us in a pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first order of business is
That's all right, I got it.
approval of minutes, and we have several to approve.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve all minutes as presented from joint sessions, June 7th of November, 20th of February, regular sessions, and February 20th, and March 6th.
I'll second. Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve all minutes. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Motion passed.
Is,
There it is, we'll start signing.
is that newer than the
Yes.
updated one?
Yes.
Oh, good, because I didn't print out the updated one. I looked at it and I can remember that. Thank you. Wait, let me get you. That's the website.
We are now ready on the agenda for the approval of claims.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve all claims as presented.
I have a motion and a second to approve all claims as presented. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. That motion has passed. And we are now ready for Scott Atkinson, County Highway. Good morning again, Scott.
Good morning. Yeah, just a few things to bring up. One is, we tabled the clothing allowance last time.
I tabled it this time because he hasn't got back to us. So he was supposed to look at it.
I looked at it, I didn't see anything, from a legal standpoint, that was a
I
problem.
understand, but I sent you something else at the end of the week. So anyway, I tabled it because of the
Okay.
other departments, we wanted it to be close to theirs. So,
I know we got some guys that's needing to get some clothes, like pants and boots and stuff. And we're about 4 months in, they're still waiting on it, that's why I was trying to bring it up.
Alright. Government moves slow.
The next thing is, we've had some people come back. and they would like to get their vacation time back. So, I feel that they all left on good terms, and I feel that they deserve it.
How many do you have?
There's 5, I thought there was 3, but there's an extra.
You had 5 come back.
Yeah, and we called them, trying to get them to come back to the short drivers. So we called them, and some of them went full time, so. We wanted to, they were asking about it, and they'd heard that we'd done it here a while back, and they was wanting to get theirs back.
Y'all left on good terms and for better reasons? I'd like to hear each individual side of it. Each individual case would be
Okay, you want to evaluate each one of these individually.
yeah, they need to come in and talk to
Your
us.
list.
I see one's
You're
back.
supposed to make a list.
Yeah, I'll have to write it down, but I got busy and forgot.
I think we just kind of detail how many weeks that would accumulate.
I thought that's what you were gonna bring, was how many days and.
Yeah, like I said, I got busy and forgot, I'm sorry, apologize for that.
I mean, if either we do it or not, we can still wait until the next meeting. I mean, some of them have probably got real good reasons, like the last one we had. It could be a case by case, just to me. I like to see and hear them, why they left and why they came back. So if we can get that for maybe next meeting, can that be done in a public meeting?
If it's one commissioner can do it outside of the meeting, but not a majority. If you wanted to do it, and, if you want a majority, then it'd be a special meeting, and it can be, a special meeting, but it would be open.
You couldn't do it just in a regular session?
Yeah, you could, sure could, you sure can.
I think that'd be just fine with me.
I mean,
My,
Stipulation of a 2-year
Right,
commitment.
right.
I mean, I just think that a policy, basically.
We just have a highway member back there.
Yeah,
He disappeared over
It's a
here.
policy.
he's hiding behind
Oh,
Scott.
there you go.
Scott, it is a policy.
He's one of the ones
It's a
that's
personnel
asking,
policy.
he had to leave for,
It is.
we've got an email from,
Would you like to address this right now, Doug?
Yes, sir, yes.
Quite welcome to.
Stand back over here.
I appreciate it.
Morning,
locking the camera.
Yeah.
my name's Troy Rosser. I hired into the county highway department in July 29 of 19, after 30 years of employment at Purdue University Power Plant. I left March 26 of 22. And the only reason I left, I gave my 2 weeks notice, I wanted to start drawing my PERF retirement or pension from Purdue. And to do that, I needed to cease employment with the government for 30 days. So I left on the 26th. In doing so, I decided I might want to try farming. So I farmed for Carroll that spring. Wasn't quite what I didn't like the hours, a lot of long hours, and I've got older and it didn't work out. So the rest of the summer I did house projects, and I came back to the county October the 3rd of this year. When I left, Kent told me, he said, "You're more than welcome to come back if it doesn't work out." Thank you. I enjoy working at the county, I had no problem. When I came back, I talked to Kent, and I said, "Hey Kent, can you maybe go to bat for me and see if I could get my previous time reinstated after I'm here 1 year? From October the 3rd, he said, "Sure thing, we'll do that for you, I'll do that." Nothing happened. I'd ask him again, I'd say, "Kent, have you," "Oh, I forgot." Eventually, I gave up. And I'm like, I guess it is what it is. Well, this person is no longer employed, so I thought maybe I'll try it again. And I am asking for me personally. This turned into a 4 or 5 person deal. But I'm the one that brought it up, because I had heard people in previous situations had their time reinstated if they left on good terms. But in closing, I guess, I'm coming up on my 6-month return to work. Now, I'm 3 days short on my SHA. And I'd like to see if I could qualify for that, which is getting ready to happen this week for the spring SHA, even though I know I'm 3 days short of 6 months. But I'd like that to happen if I could. So, but that's just, you know, I was just hoping I could maybe get my time back, and all it does is just give me my vacation.
How much time was that?
When I left, I had 5 days.
5 days?
Yeah.
So you'd be looking at 2 weeks?
Let me see. When I left,
I can't remember when.
was earning 2 weeks of vacation on my anniversary date, and I was also eligible for I think it would double my, from 5 to 10. Once it's all added back together.
Right.
The previous almost 3 and the year that's coming up in October.
And when you came back, Kent promised you he would do that, you didn't?
And nothing in writing, just verbal agreement.
Verbal agreement.
And he said, I'll go to bat for you, and that's what he said. And I asked him several times, and I think it just never got brought up. But as time went on, I seen there were some other problems, and I thought, you know, well, I'm just not gonna be, you know, be a pain. But that's my story. The other guys, I don't know if they'll ever show up or not, I don't know. I took it upon myself to show up today.
Well, we appreciate that. That means that shows that he wants to be here.
So you said you came back on October
The third.
3rd.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll take this under consideration and get everybody else's, and we can make a decision all at once.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Unless you wanna do a decision on it,
Well, if we're doing them individual, why can't we
do them individually?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think, Warren?
Well, we had a commitment. We should show,
Right,
and I think that needs to be considered.
right.
What commitment?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Mr. Rossetter, would you be, willing to sign a condition if we decide to do that like we did on the last individual? That you gotta be at least 2 years?
Yeah. I have no plans on going anywhere.
I do that. That can be done again, Ted?
No, I have no problems. Like I said, when I left, it wasn't for any job. It was, so I had to cease employment, so I could start thinking, drawing my pension.
So, how do you guys wanna do it? Do you wanna do it individually, if you wanna do it,
Individually, I think we have to wait for the town hall.
okay?
Yeah.
Any decision.
That was Steve.
If you wanted to start your next meeting early, you know, that would be like a special time for your meeting to do it instead of, as you did today, interviews. I mean, you could try to do it, give yourself some time before the meeting.
If they want us to consider it, they need to show up.
What?
Yeah,
Or just change the time of the regular meeting to 8:30. Doesn't make it, I mean, it'd be for a special reason, but it'd be starting your meeting early. If you want to just make a special meeting, that'd probably be a better way to do it, not change the time of your regular meeting. Yeah,
So we're gonna have a special meeting at 8:30.
if that's what you want to do.
you guys okay with that? I'll make a motion to have a special meeting at 8:30 on the.
Will we see how many really wanna come? I mean, if they're not gonna come,
They had their opportunity today, and they didn't show up. Because Scott, he told us, he said, hey, you guys need to go to bat for yourself. He goes, I can't. I said, that's fine. So the individuals that are not here today had the opportunity to show up, and they didn't show up. One of them backed out on me. I thought he'd be here, but he said, no, we'll see what happens. I said, okay. That's my take on it. One question, do I have to show up for the special meeting, or is this my presentation?
You haven't been here, so.
So I can tell them again if they don't show up the next time, then.
Tell them where it's under consideration,
Yeah. You gotta show up to
tell your story.
plead your case. I mean, I told him, I mean, I can bring it up, but as far as, they needed to do that themselves.
Yeah, you don't know everybody's story.
So how many total?
There's 5 total.
5 total, I've written that
We got
down.
4 more.
Yeah.
So how many people are you short?
I'd have to look it up, but there's a few, because there's a couple that's left. We had one leave,
Too.
we had one leave probably as of today. He bettered himself.
Yeah.
He could get into the operators union that way,
Right.
so he wanted to do that. I mean, good worker, I hate to lose him. And told him, you know, if anything happens in the future, come back, and if we got room, we'll bring you back.
But you also had someone to start today though, right?
Yes, a mechanic.
Have swinging doors to the county highway department. People come and stay a little while, go, they wanna come back, and then in and out, in and out. I don't wanna see that happen. So I think you send a message out with it.
Okay. The only other thing I had is, and
So we're gonna do it 8:30? We did that.
You made a motion, did you?
Yeah, basically, she stopped me, but yeah, maybe we should have a special session.
Second? Okay, so I have a motion and a second that we have a special meeting at 8:30, on April 3rd. Is that right? All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Okay, we're gonna do-
alright, the only thing I got is, the foreman over there is just the 2 foremen, that's all I'm talking about. They come in early and unlock, and they stay late and unlock, and if it starts looking like it's getting bad, they go out and check roads, see if they need to be out or whatever. And they were just asking if, we normally clock in at 6:30, and they was just wanting to know if they could clock in at 6 instead of 6:30.
Leave earlier, leave earlier, or try to get the overtime?
Well, they just was wanting maybe a little something for doing that extra stuff. I mean, like I said, they gotta be there earlier and then they stay late and lock up, so.
And you have 2 supervisors?
There's 2 road foremen, yes. And it's just for them 2.
As long as you rotate them weekly, one comes in early and leaves early, the other one stays regular hours, one can open, one can lock up. And rotate them weekly. Unless an event happens,
Right.
like Saturday.
Yeah, that was,
That was a
I
mess.
didn't even know that was coming.
Yeah,
We've been a little better prepared if I'd known that was over there.
that, I mean, to me, that's something you can handle inside the house on that, is maybe rotate them.
Okay.
That's another personnel issue. It states in personnel policy when their hours are, so it's just kinda like here at the courthouse, our hours are 8 to 5, except for on Wednesdays, and that's stated in the personnel policy, so that's another change that you're going to be doing if I do allow that.
Well, and the only, one of my points is if they don't unlock till 6 o'clock, they're gonna have 20 guys sitting around until they get the worksheet made out and all that. That's why they come in early, is to get all that done. Because it's usually hanging up by 20 after, and they start at 6:30, so it's gonna be closer to 7 by the time they get unlocked, fill the sheet out, decide what we're gonna do that day, depending on weather. Sometimes we do know the day before, but you got people, calling in sick or whatever, and then you gotta change the sheet. So we always do it in the morning, first thing, usually before anybody gets there. Cause they're supposed to call in by 6 o'clock if they're not gonna be there, for that reason. If they're
The
sick
way
or
they
something.
could do it is come in at 6 and then leave a half hour early. That would get their hours in. That's the way it should be.
What's the
There's an
difference in
exemption.
rotating them?
Well, you could rotate them, but it still would be
But
extra
you just said
hours.
we had to change, I wasn't talking about doing extra hours, just like one comes in at 6 and leaves that early, that extra half hour.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay, so
Same
yeah,
as you.
just rotate.
Alright.
One person can do the paperwork, right?
Yeah.
That'd be my recommendation, I don't know about having one speaker. To me, it seems like
Sounds good to me.
it's more of a logic thing.
That's all I have.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you. Yes.
Sorry. So I was wondering, you asked the deputy if he would work for 2 years and sign a form. And now you're asking these guys, what happens if they don't?
Yeah.
Are there any things that would happen if they don't live up to that agreement?
Ted, what was in that?
It's a memorandum of understanding, and it can't be an obligation, a legal obligation that's enforceable, or otherwise it becomes employment for a term of years. Contract for a term of years, so, I advise not to make that. Now, we've done something with the, I think EMS, Doug's here, on a, you can make a, that was for education, though. That wasn't for actual employment. Where we, advanced monies and there was an obligation to work, it was like a forgivable loan, and those are legal, but not in the employment situation, in my opinion, no. So, it is a good faith thing, and it's worded such that, they fully intend, they have no reason not to complete their obligation, but if they don't, there can't be enforcement, because otherwise it gets into the area of employment for a term of years. And you got other problems with those. So, these are good faith documents. The main purpose of the MOU, honestly, is to document the reasons for making an exception to personnel policies. That's the main thing. You don't want to create, it may not be a legal precedent, but to create a practical precedent. Obviously, this is beginning to snowball, and it could continue. So that's something to consider. But, you had, in my opinion, good grounds and extraordinary, exceptional circumstances, including a public safety need that was not gonna be met, and that there was gonna be substantial expense, it's just $20,000, if you didn't get that deputy back. You had more than enough reason to do that, and that won't become the precedent from a legal standpoint for your situation here. So you're doing it the right way, you're looking at each case individually and determining whether or not to do that. But if they don't come up to what you consider to be exceptional circumstances, then you probably should not grant the exception to the policy. Because, from speaking with Scott, none of these persons are in a protected category. Protected categories are race, religion, sex, national origin, all that stuff. If you treat people that are in different protected classifications differently, then you have a discrimination problem. But if everybody's in the same class, and you grant an exception for one and not the other. As long as they're not in a protected classification, you're violating no federal or state law in doing that.
I think we're ready for, Reed, is he out here?
Boss couldn't make it today, but I'm Boss Partner, so we're here to, insurance company.
Morning.
So I'm David Paul with Astra Insurance. We are the property and casualty provider for Carroll County that RME Insurance has selected. And it is my pleasure to award Carroll County with the it's a county safety award for 2022. And I want to read the letter. It kind of explains why Carroll County's receiving this award. Carroll County has made the safety of its residents and risk management a top priority. The county proactively engaged the help of Astra Insurance risk management professional Pierce Overbeka for best practices when it comes to creating volunteer positions and in writing the memorandum of understanding between the Rossville Consolidated School District and the Sheriff's Department. Carroll County is being awarded the 2022 Public Safety Award plaque by Astra Insurance for its efforts. This is a really special thing because we have counties throughout the state of Indiana, and we selected Carroll County. The reason that I mentioned before is unique because most of the time we as insurance companies have to reach out to the county to get them to engage us. And in this case, Carroll County's been very proactive. And so we want to reward those efforts. And really are appreciative of your efforts and really want to thank you. So we have this plaque. I will let Matt here present it to you. I can get it out. Package is pretty good. That's right. And it does come with a little holder so you guys can display it. Okay. We'd like to get a picture with you guys if you don't mind. Would somebody be volunteering? Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Come back here. Matt.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations again. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
What it says on it is, 2022 County Safety
I'd like to have a
Award,
copy
Carroll
of
County
the thing,
recognition
so I have the
for your
words. So I have the
outstanding
words.
commitment to provide a safe environment for your community and staff. Astra Insurance.
A copy of the proclamation, whatever.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Or you could just take a picture of the claim.
Those are, we would work for us. Help get that flag.
So next we're ready for Attorney Ted Johnson.
Have here with us, Matt.
Adam,
What's the last name?
Adam Parkhouse.
Adam Parkhouse from MnDOT. You've got the agreement for the transfer of Old State Road 25 to the county. He's here, and NDOT legal counsel, and
So, yeah, so I got, Nicolette Mendenhall, she's the dot legal, and then Sarah Ford, our technical services director, who's been here before. Nikki's a new face in the room, but just thought it'd be good to have her here, just in case there are any questions that, you guys have that we can address while we're here, but otherwise.
I have not read it yet.
Okay.
So, what is the, time on this to ratify this or do it?
So essentially, at this point in the process, it's ready for signatures from the county, so from you all, and then once that's complete, we can start the signatory process on our end, which, there's a number of people you'll see in the document that, on the state side, we need to sign off, so, as soon as, you know, the county signatures were ready, we're present and ready to go, we would send it through the signatory process on our end.
So, we'll just go over this briefly if you're comfortable with that. We'll start on page 1. Of course, the title is just the agreement between the Indiana Department of Transportation and Carroll County. As we come down, about halfway through under the recitals, it, states the county desires to maintain portions of Old State Road 25, and then it gives descriptions and, structure numbers. Any structure numbers you see, there's also a map on the back side. We can go over that a little bit later. We talk about, the transfer of the $80,000 in operational funds. So we'll get to the dates on that here in a minute, but that's what we agreed to the operating and maintenance. Skipping over to page 2, we just talk about if the county agrees that if they decide to vacate any of the transfer road in the future, they'd come back to NDOT first and offer it to us, right? So if you decide, I'm not doing this anymore, or if you're looking to change it into something besides the transportation network. So a road transfer and bridge transfer agreement just assures us that you're gonna leave it as a transportation network. Okay, which means that it could be rail that comes in, it could be a bunch of different things, but it's still transportation related. And if you choose to, wanna vacate that, and perhaps there's development or something else you're looking at, that's another agreement that you
I
enter
can't
into.
really get a picture of anything that's not.
Under the special provisions, so you'll see one special provisions, the agreement purpose. This is simply just to transfer the full responsibility from the state to the county, alright? Transfer as defined, so section 1.2, this just more specifically describes each portion of the asset that you'll be getting. And again, we can go over the map at the end, that's on the back page. But really what this is the bridge, and then the 4 sections of road, including the culverts. And it also describes, when we get in here, it describes some of the work that we're committed to doing. Even, so the anticipated date of the transfer, if everything goes smoothly, would be on or after July 1st of 2023. But even with that transfer, NDOT is still committed to complete the projects that we've got listed in here, which would be the bridge replacement, including the separation, at-grade separation, as well as the tunnel, and the 4 sections of new pavement that we're putting in, and a culvert replacement. So, which are all scheduled projects.
This is everything that was discussed when we were here.
So all this really does is 1.2 is just define what you're taking, right? The roads, the mileages, 1.2.4 and 1.2.5 just talk about the large and small culverts. I have a loud voice, so I think.
Well, it's not picking up anything, so.
Just bang it. That's the way we fix things.
So I do.
I'm from the country.
Oh, okay. Alright, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
124 is the transfer road sections that include the large culverts. As you know, we delineate all of our assets, large culverts and the small culverts.
What's the difference, the length?
Typically the size, so it's gonna be the dimension. So anything under 48 inches is gonna be a small culvert, 48 and above is a large culvert. The date of the transfer, so I'm on 1.3, and let me know if I'm going too quickly. I'm probably more familiar with this agreement than you gentlemen are. We're estimating to be on or about July 1st. It usually takes about 90 days to get through the signatory process. Once it's been signed at the local level, we'll see toward the end of the agreement what path it has to follow from there. And at that point in time, we'll send you a letter to let you know that the agreement's been completely executed. Of course, yours, the local, is gonna be the first signature, so you'll be waiting for us to finish our process. I'll send you a registered letter to let you know where we're at. Once that also happens, and we cover this a little bit later in the agreement, you'll then send me an invoice for $80,000 so we can go ahead and get that operation and maintenance funds transferred to you. And to what account? I realize the county has multiple accounts, so we wanna make sure it goes to the right place. We talk about the acceptance. Again, this is just the county accepting to agree to the transferred road according to the terms of this agreement. Transfer road condition. We say as is, but remember that includes the projects that we anticipate, right? There's just a statement there that you're going to be taking it as is, but we'll still be providing those capital improvements. Limited access right-of-way. To avoid confusion, the parties agree that according to applicable law, including Federal Highway Administration laws and regulations, NDOT will retain control over, if any, limited access right-of-way. However, NDOT agrees in good faith to work with the county and federal highway with respect to any request to break the limited access right-of-way. So if there happened to be any limited access in there, we would just work with you. So let's say a developer wanted to come in and there's limited access. There is a schedule that we follow and what it looks like. The property has to be appraised because federal highway has contributed funds to this when we purchased land for limited access, and there'll be a reimbursement process to the federal highway. It's something that we don't do very often, but we're very familiar with. Again, change of transfer road status. If this no longer is gonna serve as public access, that NDOT gets that first chance to come back. No cost or expense to NDOT. The county agrees that except otherwise provided in section 1.1 of this agreement, NDOT shall not be responsible for any costs or expenses in any manner related to the transfer road after 12:01 a.m. on the date of the transfer to the county. Anything in this agreement to the contrary notwithstanding. So that just, again, goes back to reflect that the projects that we've ensured that we're gonna complete will happen, and you would not be responsible for those. They will be let through the NDOT process and with NDOT funds. Permits issued for the transferred road. The county agrees to indemnify, defend, and hold harmless NDOT for all claims or liability arising in relation to any permits issued by the county to perform work on the transfer road. The county shall also be solely responsible for the issuance of any and all permits, and the county understands and agree that it shall comply with all applicable laws and issuance and regulation of such permits. So this essentially just includes it in what your typical program is for permitting, right? It would follow your rules and regulations and ordinances that you have within the county to issue permits. So NDOT's responsibility in consideration for this transfer of maintenance responsibilities, the transfer road to the county, NDOT agrees to pay the county $80,000. Again, that's the operating and maintenance funds we talked about. The county shall submit an invoice after July 1st electronically to LaPorte Technical Services Director, which would be myself. NDOT shall pay the invoice 35 days following the receipt of the invoice in accordance with the state fiscal policies and procedures. Now again, the invoice after July 1st is just making sure that we have an executed agreement. So as soon as I send you that letter, telling you thumbs up, here's a copy of the executed agreement, it's been stamped and filed, you'll in turn just come back to me with an invoice for $80,000 and we'll get that processed.
And that's just a one-time payment?
That's a one-time payment. Now remember this, the $80,000 is what we looked at of what we were spending annually, and then we multiplied that over the course of 10 years. So this should provide, and it should be more than enough because we're actually coming through and doing new pavement and replacing the bridge in all 4 of these sections, including some culvert work. So that's gonna be more than sufficient funds for you to be able to maintain those roads probably for more than 10 years. So we can go over each of the projects if you want. I'm not sure if you remember or you're familiar with them. So the first one's gonna be the old State Road 25 bridge replacement over Deer Creek. Now this is a structure where we were gonna do the additional at-grade section, right, for the multi-use path, as well as the tunnel to accommodate the folks who are using the trail. And this is at no cost to the county or to the city. This is a cost that NDOT's picking up, the cost share of this. We also have, an HMA overlay, so a hot mix asphalt overlay. In 4 sections, actually, I'm sorry, yeah, 4 sections. And you can see the mileage, so I don't know, when we get to the map, it'll probably be a little easier than if I read it to you. We also have a small structure of maintenance and repair, which is one of the small culverts that's being replaced, that had been noted earlier. And then the 4th pavement project, now the first 3 pavement projects are fiscal year '24. So as long as our agreement is signed timely and we keep things moving, those projects should stay in fiscal year '24. If for some reason we have a delay, even if it had to move to fiscal year '25, you'd still be assured we would complete the project. But until the agreement is signed and completely executed, it does have a little bit of risk there. On where, not that the project will get done or not, it will definitely get done, but where it lands, right? So right now, it's still scheduled for fiscal year '24. So as long as we can get the agreement executed and everything complete by July 1st, those projects will stay on track. The last one, which is the page's top 5, so this was Old State Road 25. There was one section of an HMO overlay from Tippecanoe County line north to US 421. And this is in the section of where the bridge is being replaced. That one, we only programmed 5 years out. We're currently in fiscal year '28. This one was planned for fiscal year '29 to be done. So as soon as we trip that trigger to get to the next year, that will go in our program. We'll provide you a DES number so you're assured and can follow any tracking and progress of that pavement, but that is in here as well too. So even though it hasn't been funded, we assure you by agreement we will be funding that. So all sections of road will have a new overlay, as well as a newly constructed bridge with a tunnel and the additional at-grade that was requested. So again, upon NDOT's, we'll go to the county's responsibilities. Upon NDOT's transfer of the transfer road to the county shall be responsible for maintenance and regulation of all right-of-way, bridges, structures, traffic signals, snow and ice removal, stormwater drainage, mowing, other related signs, outdoor advertising structures and driveways, including all costs and expenses associated therewith in perpetuity according to the terms of the agreement. So essentially all this is saying is, yes, we're taking it into the county inventory, right? It's just being served as a county facility. Future improvement construction projects, the county shall be responsible for costs and expenses associated with any future improvements and or construction projects to the transfer road. This is just outside of what we've already committed to do. So if 30 years from now, something else needs to be done, it would be at the county's cost to do it. Interpretation, I think we're good. We're gonna get to general provisions here, and this is less my area and more Nikki's area, and probably your attorney as well too. These are just standard provisions that the state puts in, so we can go over them. Nikki's here to answer those questions, but I don't, I'm not sure if you had a chance to look over.
I've seen these.
Okay, and you're comfortable with them? Because I
Yes.
can't speak for the county's behalf.
Correct, yeah, I've looked over it, I've seen several of these over, and it's all standard language.
Yeah, essentially, the portion that we're involved in is in the very beginning, and it's just the details of what the transfer is. Everything else is just what, whatever template for state agreements. And then if you flip to, I wanna say page 16 starts the signatures. So commissioners, this is where your signatures would start here.
Where are we? I lost that.
Page 16. Sorry, the copier did a double-sided, I try to save paper, so sometimes that's a little confusing.
There's a single.
Oh, okay. And then what happens from there, just to kind of give you an overview. So the local signatures would be on page 16. On page 17, this would be our district deputy commissioner, Matt Deitchley. Also our commissioner, Michael Smith from Indianapolis. Matt is our district deputy commissioner, so he's out of the office in court. And on the back side, you can see where the approvals now leave NDOT and go to other state agencies. So the state budget agency reviews this, the Department of Administration reviews this, the Attorney General's office reviews this. Once that's complete, that'll come back to Nikki, for us. Let us know if the,